You don't arrive here gradually. There is no slow fade in, no gentle transition. One moment, you exist in the world you know, and the next, you don't. Your eyes open to a ceiling of green. Not the pale, thin green of a city park or a managed forest. Something deeper. Something that has been growing, undisturbed, for longer than your mind can meaningfully process. The canopy above you is so dense that the sky is a rumor. Pale fragments of light filtering down through 60 meters of layered vegetation, reaching the forest floor as something softer than dawn, something ancient and amber and completely indifferent to your presence. You are lying on your back on the floor of the Cretaceous jungle, and for approximately 4 seconds, you feel something close to peace. Then the sounds register. The Cretaceous is not silent. It is the opposite of silent. A wall of layered biological noise so complex and so constant that your brain, trained on modern environments, struggles to parse it into individual elements. There is a base layer of insect sound, so low and so resonant, it feels like pressure rather than noise. Above that, something rhythmic from the middle canopy, a call that is almost a bird call, but heavier, wetter, with a quality that your nervous system flags immediately as unfamiliar. And beneath all of it, transmitted through the ground itself rather than the air, something that is not quite a sound. A vibration. Slow, measured, enormous. You sit up. The gear is where you left it. Survival pack, water filtration unit, the small recording device clipped to your chest strap. Your hands are steady. Your pulse is not. You check your compass, orient yourself roughly north, and give yourself 60 seconds to simply observe. Because the single most important survival skill in any unfamiliar environment is the one most people skip. Stop, breathe, and watch before you move. What you see in those 60 seconds reframes everything. The forest floor around you is not empty. The morning gave you wonder. The afternoon is going to give you something else entirely. By midday, the Cretaceous jungle has changed in ways that are difficult to quantify, but impossible to ignore. The amber softness of dawn is gone, replaced by a light that is harder, whiter, more direct, pressing down through the canopy in dense columns that illuminate the humidity in the air as a visible, shimmering haze. The temperature has climbed. Your shirt is soaked through. The water filtration unit has been working continuously, and you are still not drinking enough, because the heat here is not the dry, manageable heat of a desert. It is saturating, all-directional, the kind of heat that enters through your skin and sits inside your chest. But heat is not your primary concern right now. You have been moving for approximately 3 hours since the Brachiosaurus herd disappeared into the northern tree line. Moving carefully, one step at a time, weight transferred slowly to test the ground before committing, the way you learned in the wilderness survival course that now feels like it was designed for a completely different planet. You have covered perhaps 2 kilometers. In a modern forest, 2 kilometers is a 20-minute walk. In this jungle, with this undergrowth, with this level of alertness required at every single step, 2 kilometers is an expedition. And somewhere in the last 30 minutes, you have developed the distinct, unshakable feeling that something is watching you. Not the passive, incidental awareness of the Brachiosaurus. That animal registered you the way you might register a moth landing on your sleeve, without interest or intention. This is different. This is the feeling of directed attention, of something that has noticed you specifically, has been tracking your movement, and is making a calculation. You stop moving. The jungle does not stop. It never stops. The insect drone continues. Something calls from the upper canopy. The humid air moves in slow currents through the undergrowth. But beneath all of that familiar background noise, something has changed in the texture of the sounds around you. A section of jungle to your left has gone quiet. Not silent, but quiet in the specific, deliberate way that things go quiet when a predator is moving through them, and every small creature in the vicinity has made the collective, instinctive decision to stop drawing attention to itself. You smell it before you see it. Water. Real water. Not the filtered trickle from a jungle stream, but an open body of it, moving air across its surface, carrying that particular mineral coolness that your body recognizes as survival before your conscious mind has processed the information. You have been moving for 6 hours. Your legs know it. Your lower back knows it. The survival pack, which weighed 14 kilograms when you started, now feels like it has been quietly absorbing mass from the surrounding jungle and has grown to something considerably beyond that. You have rationed your filtered water carefully, 200 milliliters every 40 minutes, precisely as the protocol specifies, and you are still operating at the edge of the cognitive impairment threshold that dehydration produces. Decisions are slower, threat assessment takes a beat longer than it should. Which makes what you are about to do significantly more dangerous than it would otherwise be. Every large water source in an ecosystem like this one functions as a gathering point. This is true in modern Africa, true in the Amazon basin, true in every complex ecological system that has ever existed on this planet. Water draws everything because everything needs it equally. Predators and herbivores arrive at the same source at the same time, governed by the same biological imperative. The watering hole is the one location in the Cretaceous world where the normal rules of territory and distance compress into something far more unpredictable. You find it at the edge of a natural clearing, a wide, slow-moving river bend, perhaps 80 meters across at its widest point, the far bank thick with prehistoric horsetails and standing deadwood. The light is going gold now, the sun dropping toward the western canopy, and the quality of the evening light on the water is something that under any other circumstances you would call beautiful. Under these circumstances, you call it dangerous, because golden hour means the transition from day to night is approaching, and the transition period, that 45-minute window between sufficient light and total darkness, is when behavioral patterns shift most dramatically in a predatory ecosystem. Darkness in the Cretaceous is not the darkness you know. Modern darkness, the darkness of a power outage, of a countryside road at midnight, of a forest at the edge of a town, is never truly complete. There is always residual light, streetlights on the horizon, the ambient glow of distant civilization bleeding upward into the cloud base, the blue-white of a phone screen. The human world produces so much light, so constantly, that most people alive today have never experienced genuine, total, unmediated darkness in their entire lives. This is different. The Cretaceous night falls with a completeness that your visual cortex refuses, initially, to accept as real. It tries to compensate, pupils dilating to their maximum aperture, the brain amplifying whatever signal arrives from the retina, filling in gaps with pattern recognition that produces shapes where there are none. For the first 10 minutes after full dark, you see things that are not there. Movements in the tree line, shapes in the river, suggestions of form in the blackness around you that dissolve when you focus directly on them. Then your brain accepts the reality, and the darkness becomes absolute. You have made your decision about the night position before the last light failed, which is the only reason you are still alive to make any decisions at all. The ridge that concealed you during the watering hole observation has a secondary feature you identified in the final minutes of dusk, a section of exposed rock face at its northern end, where the ridge meets a vertical stone outcrop approximately 4 meters high. The overhang is shallow, not a cave, not real shelter, but it provides one critical tactical advantage. It eliminates the possibility of anything approaching you from above or behind. In a survival situation in unfamiliar predatory terrain, controlling the number of directions from which a threat can approach is the closest thing to safety you can manufacture.
You have your back against the rock. Your knees are drawn up. The recording device is still running. The air horn is in your right hand. In your left, a high-output flashlight. Not a weapon, but potentially a deterrent, because research into modern large predator behavior consistently shows that sudden, high-intensity light causes a startle and withdrawal response in animals unaccustomed to it. Whether this applies to Cretaceous predators is a hypothesis you are operating on without the luxury of peer review.